Now let me clarify something. We don't have to have the other person's forgiveness. We simply have to have had arrived at the state of humility and clarity to have asked. If the other person doesn't want to forgive us, that's his choice. That does not obstruct our growth. What obstructs our growth is our inability to forgive or our inability to ask forgiveness. That obstructs our growth. If the other person wants to obstruct his own growth by not forgiving, that's his problem. There's not a problem for us. We can ask again after a period of time, but that's their thing. We don't have to have their forgiveness in order to be at peace with ourselves. If we have asked forgiveness, we can be at peace with ourselves. We have done what we need to do. The third step is to check our lives according to our conscience. The first one had to do with our life purpose. The second had to do with our relationship. The third is, am I living my life according to my conscience? Are there things that I am doing to people which I would not like them to do to me, or there are things which I am not doing for others which I would have liked them to do for me if I was in their situation? And to live our lives according to our highest values. Socrates said something about this in his last words before he took the poison. He said, "If you say to me, 'You shall be let off, but upon one condition, that you are not to inquire in this way any more, that if you are caught doing so again, you shall die. If this was the condition on which you let me go, I would reply, while I have life and strength, I shall never cease from the practice and the teaching of philosophy, exhorting anyone whom I meet. Are you not ashamed of heaping up the greatest amount of money and honor and reputation, and caring so little about wisdom and truth? The unexamined life is not worth living." So he was willing to die for his values. He was willing to leave his physical life because he could not accept stopping to discuss these truths. He said, just shut up and you can live. Don't talk to anybody. Don't disturb anybody's mind. And we will leave you alone. No, I'd rather die. This is what I believe, and life is not worth it without doing that. Okay, so the next step is aligning our life with our values and with our conscience. You have some questionnaires about that. I think it's the first questionnaires that you have about conscience and character and what changes you would like to make in your character, so that if you die today, when you go through the examination, you're going to say, oh my God, how many mistakes I made. I'm not ready for this examination. That is, to examine ourselves now. If our behavior is what we would like it to be. And if it's not get into a guilt trip, but just say, what is causing me to behave in this way? What beliefs do I need to change? What are my fears? What are my emotions, my needs, which are causing me to behave in this way? Not to condemn myself, but to get free from the needs and the feelings which cause me to behave in ways which I myself do not accept. Now, another way of preparing for death is meditation. Meditation, in reality, is a small death. It's a dying to the senses. It's a dying to the thoughts. It's a dying to the attachments. It's practicing letting go of the tendency to be focused on the material world and to be focused on the spiritual. So that when we leave the physical body, rather than saying, oh my God, what am I losing? We are focused on the light. The moment of leaving the body is called Maha Samadhi. It is the greatest Samadhi, the greatest opportunity in life to become enlightened. Because at that moment, if we focus on the light, we have a greater chance of uniting with the divine. So it is said by all religions that the thought that you have in your mind at the moment you leave the physical body is perhaps the most important thought. Now let's listen to a little story that Sai Baba says about this. Listening to some scriptural tales, you might say that it's quite enough if the name of the Lord is remembered at the very last moment of life. But it is a difficult task to recall that name in the end if you have not practiced it for years. In the surge of emotions and thoughts that will invade you at the last moment, the name of God will be submerged unless you learn from now on to bring the name to the top of your consciousness whenever you want it. There was a shopkeeper once who was inspired by the tale of Ajamila. He decided to remember the name of God with his last breath by a shortcut. He named his 6 sons after various gods, for he knew that he was bound to call on any one of them when he was about to die. The moment came at last, and according to his program, he called the Lord by proxy 6 times in all. The boys came and stood around his cot, and as he surveyed the group, his 6 sons there, all named with names of God, the last thought that came to the dying man's mind was, just when he was about to quit, was, alas, all of you have come away. Who will look after the shop now? This is where his mind was. You see, his shop was the very breath all is to his life. And he could not switch to God in such short notice. So you see, we need to practice this detachment now, because it's not going to be so easy when we're leaving the physical body. Another thing that we need to do is to work on our belief system. Because as we mentioned many times, our belief system creates our reality, here and after we leave the physical body, and of course in our dream state. So ultimately, spiritual growth is the growth of our belief system. So what we need to do is to continuously readjust our belief system from the belief that I am this body, I am in danger, my self-worth is dependent on this body, my security is dependent on this body, to a belief system which says I am divine energy, I am a soul, I am immortal, my self-worth cannot be doubted, I am divine energy, my safety is to be taken for granted, I am safe in all situations. Whatever I believe I will create in life and after life. Let's see what Seth says about changing his belief system. Quite simply, a belief in the good without a belief in the evil may seem highly unrealistic to you. This belief, however, is the best kind of insurance that you can have, both during physical life and afterwards. It may outrage your intellect, and the evidence of your physical senses may shout that it is untrue. Yet a belief in good without a belief in evil is actually highly realistic, since in physical life it will keep your body healthier, keep you psychologically free of many fears and mental difficulties, and bring you a feeling of ease and spontaneity in which the development of your abilities can be better fulfilled. After death, it will release you from the belief in demons and hell and enforced punishment. You will be better prepared to understand the nature of reality as it is. I understand that the concept does indeed offend your intellect, and that your senses seem to deny it. Yet you should already realize that your senses tell you many things which are not true. And I tell you that your physical senses perceive a reality that is the result of your beliefs. Believing in evils you will of course perceive them. Your world has not tried the experiment as yet which would release you. Christianity was but a distortion of this main truth, that is, organized Christianity as you know it. I am not speaking here simply of the original precepts. They were hardly given a chance, and we will discuss them in a later chapter in this book. The experiment that would transform your world would operate on the basic idea that you create your own reality according to the nature of your beliefs, and that all existence is blessed, and that evil did not exist. If these ideas were followed individually and collectively, then the evidence of your physical senses would find no contradiction. They would perceive the world and existence as good. This is the experiment that has not been tried, and these are the truths that you must learn after physical death. Some after death, understanding these truths, choose to return to physical existence and explain them. Through the centuries, this has been the way. So, one step is to work on our belief system to free ourselves from limiting beliefs, from beliefs which create fear, alienation, competition, defense mechanisms, to beliefs which allow us to relax, feel safe, feel worthy, and be more loving, and be more selfless in our lives. Now, death is the ultimate detachment from everything. We are ripped away from everything we know. Our family, which is the most important, our pleasures, nature, our inheritance, our fortune, whatever we have. So, practicing detachment makes death more easily. When in life I am able to become more detached from whatever I am attached to and transform my attachments to preferences, I don't become a person who doesn't know what he wants. I know I prefer this, I prefer the other. I work to create what I want and what I prefer, but I know that my existence does not depend on it. My happiness is not dependent on it. It's like we said about the bird, you know. We're sitting on the branch, enjoying the branch, not afraid to let go and to rest on that branch, to use it, to depend on it, because it knows two things, that if the branch breaks, it can fly, and there are other branches. So this is the kind of relationship that we need. Love the people around us, but not be dependent on them. Enjoy our pleasures, but not be dependent on them. Enjoy what we have, but not be dependent on it. So that at any point, when we have to leave, we can leave peacefully. The mind does not zero in on what we are leaving. This will greatly obstruct our departure. It'll make it a problem the moment we're trying to leave, and it will make it a problem after we have left, because our mind will go towards these things and it will prevent us from moving into higher levels of consciousness. So it's very important to go through this detachment process. That does not mean that we have to leave everything and go and live in a cave.